What's up, guys? Welcome to the 13th episode of the JRNE Podcast with me, Jada Christine. Today, we are going to be talking about how being a Christian affects the college experience as a whole, including social life, dating, adulting, even class, being in class, dealing with professors, dealing with controversial views, so on and so forth. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff and what it means to be set apart in college, because I feel like it has a very different meaning from when you are at home, because at college you are on your own, it's a new environment, and you will stick out like a sore thumb as a Christian. Speaking from experience. We're also going to be talking about what it means to explore yourself in college, because the world's definition of exploring yourself is doing a bunch of things that God warns us not to do. So what does that mean for us as young adults, as Christians in college, trying to find ourselves, trying to become closer to God, trying to learn what our life is going to be? So yeah, a little background on where I'm at in my college experience. I'm 19 years old. I'll be 20 in October. I just finished my second year of college and I'm taking a semester off right now. I'm at home from college and I'll be back at my university next semester. So I'm kind of halfway there, and I have 1 year being in college where I wasn't saved, and my second year I was saved. I'm now in my third year, I guess, but I'm taking a semester off. So yeah, so let's see. We're going to start with social life. So yeah, as I said, I gave my life to Christ my first year into college, and my social life was very different my first year compared to my second year. In that first year, coming from high school, coming from being at home, I found a little party girl inside of me, because at home I didn't really have a lot of friends in high school. I didn't go out in high school. I didn't party in high school. So when I got to college, I talked about this in my testimony, but when I got to college, I turned up. Like, I found for myself that I like to party, that I like to dance, that I like to go out and have fun. And so that's what I did my first year. That was my social life. My social life literally consisted of partying, smoking, drinking, all that sorts. And so going into my second year after getting saved, I had to learn, what would that look like? What would my social life be this second year? Because I know I can't do exactly what I was doing before, but I know that doesn't mean that I can't have fun. So now there's boundaries to that, or there was boundaries to that. And so, I like to party. I was a social butterfly. I guess I am a social butterfly. I used to be shy. I can call myself a social butterfly now. But I guess in my second year, I had to learn that going to parties is something different that I didn't understand. And it was funny because I kept going my second year because I didn't understand why it was bad. I didn't even know it was bad. I was excited to get back to campus. I was like, yeah, I'm going out again. I get to be with my friends. I get to turn up again. And until I had this Bible study and my minister was talking about partying, and I was like, whoa, we can't party. We can't turn up. What does that mean? I want to go outside. And so basically that changed everything from that point on. And I realized that I can't necessarily do what I used to do in order to have fun. And that kind of put me in my room for a minute, just bored out of my mind, thinking that I can't do anything. Christians can't have fun, but that wasn't true. And so I learned that parties aren't necessarily what I thought parties were. I went to parties with the intention, I'm going to have fun with my friends. I'm going to hang out with my friends. I'm going to dance. I'm going to meet some new people because I'm not sitting in my dorm. I'm not going to be in here by myself. But going to parties, people are getting drunk. People are getting high. People are, they're being single. They're living their best single lives. And if that is what God is calling us away from, a lifestyle that God is calling us away from, we know that we can't get drunk. We know that we can't get high. We know that we can't, being single is different for us. Being single doesn't mean that we're going out all the time and meeting new guys and sleeping around. That being single is a different definition for us. Being single means either we're waiting on God or we're dating intentionally. And you're not going to find that at parties. You're just not at college parties. And so that affected my college experience a lot my second year, because I went into my second year, like I said, wanting to be that same party girl. And I like to turn up. I'm a party girl, but it has a different definition. I can't do it with the same people I used to party with. I can't go out with the same people. I can't be in that environment, but that doesn't mean I can't have fun. So I made new friends my second year. God blessed me with some great friends my second year of college, because my first year I was mixed up with people who got me into the party scene, who got me messing around with guys, who got me messing around with people who smoked a lot, people who drank a lot, and I picked up those habits naturally. My second year, I met friends. They were all in relationships, first of all. They were all in relationships. They didn't smoke, and they didn't party. So I was inside. And at first, I was trying to get them to come outside. I was like, guys, come on, we're going to have fun. You know, we can do our own little thing. We're going to enjoy ourselves. But they weren't on that. And I really feel like that was God. It was kind of funny, actually. Every single time I went out, the beginning of my second year of college, it just was always something was happening. Something got in the way. It would be like, oh, we don't want to go anymore. Or it'd be like, we'd get there and the party was over. The party was shut down. It was always something. Like, I'm telling you, God was telling me in every single way, Jada, it's time for you to step away from the party scene. And I was just like, no, I want to go outside. So I kept going outside until I finally was just like, okay, God, it's convicting me. I can't keep doing this. I'm going to have to make some adjustments. And as in my head, I thought God doesn't want me to have fun. Like, straight up, I was like, what does this mean? But these new friends introduced me into new ways of having fun. And it was kind of like how I had fun in high school. And we would just go out, we would do stuff, we would enjoy our time by ourselves, whether we were just doing homework, we were watching movies, or we were just cooking dinner together, going grocery shopping together, and going to the athletic events together. It was those kind of things. It was that kind of friendship where we just did everything together, and being outside, being at parties just wasn't as enjoyable as enjoying our time with ourselves. And we did go to a few parties together, but I couldn't go to some of the parties they went to. And I had to find that balance. Like, God will tell you to stay home. God will tell you to go to leave early, because there was times where I would go out and he'd be like, Jade, it's time to go. And I'd leave, and then there'd be something would go down at the party. There'd be times when I was told not to go and I'd go anyway, and this would happen. I talked about that in my testimony as well. But there'd be times when it was like, Jada, it's okay, you can go. And that was more like, that wasn't like, oh, we're going out, we're going to a bunch of random parties. That was, your friend's having a birthday party. Go enjoy time with her. Go celebrate with her. It was those kind of things. If I'm being honest, I never found Christian friends. I went to a church in my college town, but I could not find Christian friends for like dear life. And if I did find fellow Christians, then it was always like in the Christian clubs, and the Christian clubs are toxic, or it was always, I just couldn't make friends with them. I just couldn't connect with them. You know, kind of like, it was kind of like, I hate to say this, but I meet some Christians sometimes and it feels like I'm talking to a robot. Like, people, like, I feel like I've met some Christians who are afraid to be real, and that just makes it even harder to find Christian friends. So I didn't find Christian friends. And so, but I have solid friend groups from college that I am so grateful for. And they kept me inside. I did not get to go outside as much as I wanted to, but I still had a good time in a godly way. And these friends did not compromise my character. These friends did not try to get me to step out of my comfort zone when I didn't want to. These friends would take me home if I didn't want to go to a party. These friends were good friends, and they were God-sent friends, if you know what I mean. So that's how my social life changed. You're going to find that in college. A lot of people are doing things that you necessarily can't do. And so sometimes it's going to feel like you don't have a social life, because I felt like that all the time. And we're going to get into that later. We're going to talk about being alone, solitude, all of that. But you can have a social life in college, but it's going to be different from everybody else's, straight up. Dating in college. Everybody's dating in college. I'm not even going to call it dating. People are talking in college. People are hooking up in college. We all know what people are doing in college. And we all know that we necessarily can't do what they're doing. It's the constant in college. It's the constant, I necessarily can't do this the way they're doing. My social life is going to look different from theirs. My dating life is going to look different from theirs. And it's going to be hard to find relatability when it comes to those things. So my dating advice for college, straight up, my dating advice for college is don't date. Don't date. Like, if you're below the age of 24, if you're undergrad, like me, second year, third year, first year, fourth year, don't focus on dating. Because if you're like I said, if you're my age, we're pursuing our education, we're pursuing our career, we're learning about ourselves, we're trying to get closer to God, we're balancing life, and yeah, it's a lot. So I would recommend don't go looking for a relationship. If it comes, it comes. Don't be one of those girls that's like, oh no, I'm waiting for my husband, but I'm gonna say no to every single guy that shoots his shot with me. But if a relationship comes, it comes. If a boyfriend comes, it comes. If a date comes, it comes. But don't go looking for a relationship. I highly recommend not doing that, because as Christians, our dating life is going to look different from everybody else's. Unfortunately, in college, everybody is hooking up, having sex. There are a few serious relationships, but they be toxic sometimes. I do know some good, healthy, serious relationships, and I am very happy for those people. But most of the time, the dating experience in college is going to be not what you're looking for. And so those people will come into your life. Those people will come into your life trying to hit your line, saying, come through. What you trying to do? Hang out with me. Come, bring a friend, bring your homeboy, whatever. That is going to happen, but you gotta stay strong, because let me tell you, most guys and girls in college are not ready for what you ready for. Because being in a relationship is different for a Christian than it is for someone outside of the world. Christians date intentionally. Christians are supposed to date intentionally. And most of the time you're not going to find that in the world. And if you do, there's the thing of being equally yoked. There's the being abstinent. There's the waiting to marriage. There's all these factors that just don't blend well when it comes to dating in the world, dating in college in general. And so I'm not going to sit here and tell you like, oh, give up all hope on dating, you're not going to find a boyfriend. Because I do believe that you could get lucky. I do believe that there are good men and women, Christian women in college, who can, have their happily ever after. But I just wanted to say, don't stress out and worry about getting that relationship, because it may not come. And you shouldn't waste your youth waiting for that one to come. Like, just stay strong. Like, who you'll be compatible with, and who you won't. You know your boundaries. You know your standards. You know your bare minimums. Say no. Dating apps. I do not recommend dating apps either. I've tried them. I've tried every single one. I've tried Hinge. I've tried Bumble. I've tried Tinder. Dumb. I know what those apps are about. Most people go on apps looking for hookups. I'm not looking for hookups. Even Christian dating apps. I've tried those too, but there's only like a bunch of old people on there. And so, again, like, there's not a lot of people our age who are, like, looking for a serious relationship. But I do want to say, if you get lucky and there's someone genuinely pursuing you who knows Christ, respects your boundaries, and has good intentions, go on the date. Take the chance, get to know that person, and see where it goes. Some Christian women, some Christian men who can be scared to date sometimes. They'll be like, I'm waiting for my husband. I'm waiting for my wife. Not realizing that God could be sending that person to you, but you just, rejected them. So don't turn everybody down. You can tell by how you are approached what someone's intentions are. So you don't have to say no to everybody. Like, get to know people. It's okay to get to know people, because getting to know someone doesn't mean you're going to get married. Getting to know someone doesn't mean, oh, we're going to be in a relationship. Getting to know someone is what it is. It's getting to know someone. How can you know if someone is good for you? How can you know if you're compatible with someone? How could you know if someone walks with Christ if you don't get to know them? And so take a chance if you are desiring a relationship in that time. If you feel like, I'm supposed to be single right now, don't entertain anything. But if you are, I want to date, and there are people hitting your line who have good intentions, but I have to make that clear, who have good intentions, get to know them. So yeah. Solitude. Next, we're going to talk about solitude, because even though I had friends, they were all in relationships, and I got lonely all the time, and I found myself in solitude all the time. And I spent a lot of time sulking in that. Loneliness. But towards the end of my second year, I stopped waiting for a relationship to come in my life in order for me to start living my life in my college years. And I had to figure out what that looked like, because, again, it's hard to go out and have fun when you don't have anybody to do it with. And it's hard to go out and have fun when the fun is going against who you are. And so that meant taking myself on a lot of dates. Just me, myself, and I'll take myself shopping. I'll go to the movies. I'll go out to eat by myself. I'll go on a road trip to the city. I'll go downtown. I do a lot of different things. I learn what I like to do. I'd even go to the beach. I'd text my friends like, oh, you guys want to go to the beach? And they wouldn't be able to because they had class. And next thing you know, I'm at the beach all by myself. And they're like, Jayla, you really went to the beach? Yes, because I'm not going to wait on anybody to come into my life for me to start enjoying my life. Why should I wait? A lot of times I would just stay inside and get myself some snacks, pull up a movie, and I'd watch the people come inside through my window because I was on campus and I was in a dorm. So when I looked out of the window, I would see everybody coming in from the parties and I'd be like, oh my God. And it's hard. I am not going to lie to you. It is hard because you see people on Instagram posting themselves turning up and you're like, dang, that was me like a couple months ago or a year ago, and now I can't do it anymore because Christ is calling me to a higher standard, and I just want to go outside. But we do these things for God. It's about dying to yourself daily, and I can't say that it's easy because we know that dying to ourselves daily, it looks different for a lot of different people. It looks different for everybody. For me, it meant staying inside when I wanted to go outside a lot. I did enjoy myself sometimes, but I did get lonely, and I just have to be real about that. Like, it's not going to be easy, if you are trying to live set apart in college, if you're trying to be set apart, if you're trying to not just go with the crowd like everybody else is, it is going to be hard. Everybody is going to be yapping in your ear, telling you to do something, and you have to have that knowledge within yourself to say, God is telling me one thing and I'm hearing all these voices, but I need to know that I need to listen to God. I need to know that I have to stay within His will and pursue Him more than I listen to these voices telling me the exact opposite of what He is telling me to do. And so take that time in solitude to get closer to Him, to be able to hear His voice, to understand His voice, and figure out His purpose for your life and your passions. Because in solitude is when I started making a bunch of random TikTok videos. In solitude is where God told me is where I started a YouTube channel. In solitude is where I started falling in love with content creation in general. And it's been literally, I used to spend most of my time scrolling, and now I spend most of my time making videos. And I still find myself bored. I cannot lie to you. I'm like, God, sometimes I just want my man. Like, sometimes I just want to be in a relationship. Like, I want someone to be there encouraging me. I want someone to go out with. I want someone to do things with. But until then, I guess this is what I'm just going to have to do. And I found that in solitude, as much as I filled my time with doing things, I wasn't as bored. I wasn't as lonely. I wasn't as much desiring a relationship. And even desiring a relationship, it was an idol. And so it tore that idol down, seeking God, pursuing things that He told me to do, filling that time with things I like to do, filling that time with passions I have, filling that time with content creation, filling that time up. It's important to fill all that time up. Time is, what is the phrase? Time is money. Time is valuable. Time is the most valuable thing in the world. So we shouldn't forsake the time that we have on this earth. We shouldn't forsake the time that we have in our college years, even though it might be spent in solitude, even though it might be spent away from a lot of people. It can be invested in. And you could be years down the line ahead of people who were wasting that time. Because as fun as it looks going outside, I talked about this in, 2 videos ago, 10 misconceptions of Christianity. As fun as it looks to go outside, sometimes you want to keep your head down. You want to be in grind mode. You want to stay on top of your stuff and get your stuff done. And, you can't do that living a party lifestyle. So yeah, adulting. Whew. Honestly, adulting was the hardest thing for me. Navigating adulting. It is the hardest thing for me, only because of the lack of community. And I found that I learned something about myself within this past year, that when things get hard and I don't have people to lean on, I can break easily, like real easily. Because as a college student, there's a lot of transition happening in your life and you're balancing so much. And if you live away from your hometown, you may be moving back and forth all 4 years. If not, you're working hard to maintain an apartment off campus. And there's just a lot of stuff that you have to think about that you didn't think about before when you weren't in college, including groceries, bills, running errands, doing chores. And I enjoy that stuff sometimes, but it gets hard and it gets overwhelming when you're trying to balance everything without people to lean on, without a solid community to lean on. And so during my second semester, I found myself even more lonely and still having to do these things. And I felt like I was doing them alone. Even though God was there, it was hard. It felt like I was doing things alone. And so my grades were sacrificed because of that, because I was working too much, because I just couldn't figure out a balance. And I just found that I would break down when things got hard. And so I feel like it's really important to find community and to not overwhelm yourself when you're in college. I know that some people don't have that privilege of being able to take a step down from things, taking a break from work because of bills and surviving. But if you can, like, literally pray to God. Just pray. If you can't do anything, just pray that he will send whatever you need in that moment to keep going. Whether that's just a little bit of motivation, whether that's rest, whether that is a friend, whether that is encouraging message on YouTube, whether that is a break, if you can take a break. But it's easy to crack under pressure. And I definitely understand it. Give yourself grace in that, because nobody's out here doing everything perfect. Everything is not easy. Give yourself grace as you are navigating adulthood, because it is hard. And if you fall, just get back up, because the godly may trip 7 times, but he will get up again. But one disaster is enough to overthrow the wicked. So I have tripped several times, but I've gotten back up each and every time because of God, because of his grace, because of his strength. And I'm telling you guys, this past semester, I literally felt like a failure, felt like a disappointment, disappointing myself and disappointing God. But things get hard. It's not easy sometimes. But if God is still waking you up, there is time to get things back together, to get yourself back into a good place. And if you're like me, being a person who values relationships a lot, it made it hard for me to do things on my own. So if you can, find a good community. And I mean a good community, an intentional community, like a church where you can find solid friends. If you don't have friends on campus, like, find a church off campus that is close to campus where you can find good community, good friends who are intentional and not just like, who are intentional about being your friend. And because it's important to lean on people in times of hardship. It is not good for man to be alone. So yeah. Next, having controversial views. So if you go to a non-Christian university, you're going to deal with a lot of different views, a lot of different perspectives that go against what you believe in. And that's another thing. Hearing a lot of the voices that are telling you one thing, but you have to listen to God. So not only socially, like, when people are asking you for your zodiac sign, you're like, oh, I don't do that. I don't believe in that. But in class, when your professor is talking about things, perspectives, and everybody's looking at you crazy when you said one thing that goes against what they believe. And so I feel like every other day somebody was asking me, what is my zodiac sign? Oh, what's your signs, your astrology chart, your all that stuff. And that stuff literally triggers me now. Coming from, New Age spirituality and seeing the dark things behind it, it literally triggers me when people ask me that. And I usually just say, sometimes I respond and I tell them my zodiac sign. But sometimes I say, oh, I don't really believe in that stuff. But they usually can tell by my response that, oh, you don't really mess with that stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't really mess with that stuff. And tough topics get talked about in class, abortion, the LGBTQ community. There's going to be tough conversations everywhere. There's going to be tough conversations. You're going to meet a lot of different people in college. And if you say the wrong thing, people will cancel you. If you say the wrong thing, people will look at you differently. What we believe in, it's clear, it's blatant how Christianity is controversial. What we believe in is controversial, and you're going to see that in college everywhere you go, because it's going to be made clear that you are set apart, that you are different, because you are not going with the crowd. You're not doing what everybody else is doing. You're not believing what everybody else is believing in. You may get uncomfortable at times. I got uncomfortable a lot in classes in college, in conversations, in groups, at parties with people. I would get super uncomfortable hearing people talk about things I don't agree with, and getting asked my point of view and not saying anything because I pick and choose my battles. Like, I would literally sit sometimes and be like, oh my gosh, I want to transfer to a Christian university. And I'm heavily considering it right now, actually, before going back to school. But don't be swayed. Everyone's going to tell you are wrong. Your views are wrong. Your beliefs and your faith is wrong. And they may not say it to you directly, but you may feel doubt sometimes, like maybe I am the wrong one because everybody believes in something that I don't. Everyone believes that what I believe in is crazy. And that is when your faith is tested. So just stay strong, because remember, the path is narrow and few find it, but the path to hell is broad and many go that way. So if you find yourself alone, standing alone in your beliefs, standing alone in your walk, a lot of times that means you are on the right path, and you will find yourself alone a lot on this path. That is a good sign. And it hurts, but it is a good sign. You are going the right way, and it won't always be that way. I pray that you find that community, and I pray I find that community too. Let's pray for each other. You will definitely feel like an outcast. That's exactly what it means to be set apart, and that is exactly what it means to be a light of the world. Whether you were in college or not as a Christian, you are going to feel like an outcast. If you don't, then I'm surprised, honestly, because especially with the way that the world is changing, so you can see it's very blatant. People should be able to tell that you are a Christian, that you don't do what they do, that you different. Okay. So like in a lot of conversations, I've had to shut my mouth. I do hair. So I would have clients come and sit in my chair. We're watching a show or a movie or something, and they'll just like crap on Christianity as a whole. And sometimes I bite my tongue because I can tell whether this will be a fruitful conversation. And sometimes I defend my faith. So just don't be surprised. Don't be surprised, because if you're coming from a hometown where you had a solid church, if you had a good community of people, then it's going to be different being around people who don't agree with you. It is. And so people will be offended by what you believe in. People will become defensive about what you believe in sometimes. And there's no use in arguing with someone who doesn't have an open mind, who is set in their ways. But there is use in defending your faith with someone who is willing to listen. But if you do get hate for believing in God, remember that Jesus was hated first. For a minute, I was a closet Christian. I wasn't open about my faith. I wasn't open about my beliefs. I blended in with everybody, and I went home. I went to my dorm, shut my door, and I was with God. But when I went outside, I was blending in with everybody. I wasn't standing out as a Christian usually does, because as the light of the world, as being set apart. And so don't hide your faith. Don't be a closet Christian. Be open about it. Be bold. Be courageous. Stand up for what you believe in, just as everybody else does. Because as the world is pushing their agenda, you should be pushing God's agenda through your life, through the way that you walk, through the way that you talk. It is okay. Yes, people think that Christianity is controversial. Yes, people have stereotyped Christians. But be a light, be set apart, and do not be afraid to be open about your faith. Do not be afraid to be controversial, because there are people's souls at stake, and that's what it means to be a Christian sometimes. You have to be set apart. You have to be an outcast sometimes, but that is okay. Comparison. This is my last one. So in college, you're going to meet a lot of go-getters, a lot of people who may have more Instagram followers, who may be more drippy, may have better fashion, may look cuter, may get more attention, may get better grades, may be more athletic. And for some people, including me, it's hard not to compare yourself to other people's lives. And it's easy to start wanting to look like them and act like them. It's easy to start doubting who you are, who God made you to be. It's easy to start wanting to blend in. And even if you don't realize it, like, my second year, I went back to school I started wearing wigs, and I felt like I always had to look good. I felt like I always had to have my nails done, and that's not bad. It's good to have hygiene and to feel confident in yourself, but that wasn't necessarily me, because I've always been a natural hair girly. And so when I went to college, I started wearing wigs, spending money on always making sure that my hair looked good. I was a hairstylist, so I was like, oh, this is my excuse. I'm a hairstylist. My hair always to look good. But no, I've always been a natural hair girly. I got 4C hair. People don't think 4C hair is cute, but it doesn't matter. You have to be who you are and stop comparing yourself to so many other people, even if that means that people will see you differently. Be confident in yourself. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is who you were yesterday. The only standard you should be trying to live up to is Jesus. It's so easy to see everybody outside partying, posting their life on the gram, posting the sexiest pictures, getting all the attention, getting all the guys, getting all the girls, being in relationships, getting straight A's, and wanting to have that for yourself. But social media does a great job of creating a facade, telling a story that isn't true. People can write whatever story they want to write about their lives on social media. So it may look like one thing, and it may actually be something else. Just remember that comparison is the thief of joy. So when you are walking on your own path, you are not in competition with anybody else but yourself than who you were the other day. Stay focused on doing better for yourself. And if you want better things for yourself, it is okay to want that. But have grace with yourself. If you want to be more confident, think about the time that you felt the most confident and then show up as him or as her every single day. If you want to go out and show people just how fun it is to be a Christian. Stop comparing what your life looks like to what people's lives in the world look like, because they are going to look different. And that is what it means to be set apart. That is what it means to be a light of the world. You are going to look different. You're going to act different. You're going to walk different, talk different. Your social media is going to be different. So stop comparing yourself to people who you are not supposed to be, to people who are living by a standard that you do not live by. Did my light just go off? Aww. Okay. Not my light going off, but that's okay because we're done with this episode. So yeah, that is all I have to say about how being a Christian affects the college experience. I'm glad I got it all out before this light just died because the lighting just changed drastically. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Thank you for listening. Let's continue the conversation in the comments or in the DMs. If you enjoyed this episode, please share with a friend that you may think need to hear this message. Repost it on your stories. Download the podcast. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment or leave a review. Follow the Instagram at the JRNE Podcast and follow me on TikTok at jada.christine. And please come back, please spin back, come see me or listen to me again, and have a blessed day. Bye, y'all.